savor this assembly and all living beings. Return the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering, templates and anchors and that, and quickly realize numbers.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
Namo sadanto suchedoye alahadi samyao samputoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 好的，师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dhamma friends, welcome to our Sutra lecture today. My name is Heng. It's May 4th today, Buddha's birthday, depending on who is doing the counting. Happy birthday to the Buddha from us here at the Gold Coast Dharma Realm. Glad that you're with us today. It is the 3rd of May back in California in the evening. And we're going to start today by inviting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the Flower Garland Assembly and all of the gods and the dragons in the Eightfold Pantheon to join us, please, and to bring their particular wisdom and light to our assembly to bless everybody here. Does everybody remember Princess Kaguya? She's one of Miyazaki's animated films, and in what's it called? If you look up Princess Kaguya, you'll find it. There is a section where devas are arriving at a way place, and somehow the music for the devas arriving has always, whenever I hear it, I think that's how deva music sounds. Ours is not that. We're playing a banjo, but we have the melody that everybody uses when they bow to the Avatamsaka Sutra, Chao Bai, Wan Po Shang, Wan Po Dian. When people bow on our pilgrimage, that's the music we use. So maybe it is. Maybe this is our tune, our melody comes down from the devas, who knows. But in that particular, I think it's called Spirits Arrive, or something is the title of the tune, but it's just splendid. You can just feel the yang energy and the happiness and the celebration of this particular tune in Miyazaki's film called Princess Kaguya. So, yeah, ours is, the intent is the same. Our intention is to welcome the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as one would welcome if we were devas welcoming them. We're not devas, we're not bodhisattvas, we're admirers of those beings, and so we try our best. Here we go. We respectfully acknowledge the Kombumerri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. 我们就说恭敬地承认与冈贝语族的孔布马里人是我们寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民致敬。We have our lovely bell here. Bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内佛法样，往逆果中恭训其法界和平，利益报他那后德。Okay, that's our preliminary liturgy. The way we do this, the way we set up a lecture is entirely arbitrary. It's just what we're doing at the moment. Shifu used to add practices and remove practices as circumstances arose, and so that's what we're doing now. Someday we'll do the bell song in Chinese nicely. That time has not yet come. So I wanted to announce that next week I will be lecturing from California, from Berkeley Monastery. The time waits for nobody, and the calendar has moved around so that it's time for me to return to the U.S., and it will be just before Buddha's birthday, or whether, I'm not clear if we celebrate on a Saturday or a Sunday, but in any case, it'll be, we'll be bathing the Buddha at the Berkeley Monastery just either that day or the next day, and hope to see friends whom I have not seen for several months, and look forward to being with you. The faithful, hardworking team of volunteers who bring this lecture to Chinese speakers will be taking turns to getting this lecture across the miles, and we'll be coordinating. Now we're coordinating with Jerry on the Berkeley end, and next week we'll be with Jerry coordinating with the team here at the Gold Coast to make sure that everybody can listen to the sutra in Mandarin, in English, or in Vietnamese. So that's what's up. Those of you who will be looking forward to the picture biography, Master Empty Cloud picture biography next week, that's going to be temporarily quiet. It's going to be postponed because I will be traveling on that day. So no Xu Yin Lao Heshang picture biography lecture next week. If you know friends who have missed this announcement but who regularly listen in, please let them know. We may have someone happily joining into that space and time to inform others who show up that there's no lecture that day. That's a good way to go. The next week we'll be right back as usual. The stories right now with Master Empty Cloud are unbelievable. He's enlightened, he's finished his pilgrimage, he's now on a second loop of China's southwest. He's gone from Sichuan, now he's down in Yunnan, and just the situations that arise, even in a life like his. He is known to be an 8-stage bodhisattva, and yet trouble comes his way. So karma is never off by a hair's breadth, they say. So we really, when we're on what's called the stage of causation, the yin di, where we're planting the causes that come ripe later, is the time to really be careful, because even if you're an 8-stage bodhisattva, you fall overboard, have to travel downstream in a river, freezing river, cutting your feet on the rocks on the bottom, or else if you climbed into the ferry, you could capsize the whole thing and dump everybody else into the water. So he just has to float downstream. And when he pulls himself out, he's soaking wet, it's very cold, it's raining, and his feet are cut. So he goes to the local monastery, and the monk there refuses them entrance, does not allow Master Empty Cloud and his companion, Jie Chunpasher, to come in to spend the night. So what do? In the village, there's a stage, a theater stage used probably for band concerts or something, for gatherings. And so they find shelter from the elements underneath the stage, probably with cobwebs, spider webs, and dust. And they think, oh, you know, I happen to have some money, so let's go buy some dried grass and start a fire to keep ourselves warm, maybe warm up our robes. So they buy some grass, and the monk sells them wet grass. It doesn't burn, so steals their money. So life is not always copacetic, even for people with blessings and virtue like that. These incredible stories. And he's 62 years old when this is happening, right? So, oh my goodness. So that will be continuing the following week, not next Friday or Saturday, depending on where you are. All right. Now, what is our story today? Oh my goodness. Master Sudhana. He's not even a master. He's a layman. He's a young man. He is seeing teacher number 6, whose name is Jieto Zhangzhe, the elder liberation, or liberated. And he's got incredible abilities to see Buddhas. His particular liberation door is seeing Buddhas. But we haven't heard a word from him yet. Why? Sudhana walked for 12 years between teacher 5 and teacher 6. Teacher 5, mind you, was a lot. He learned the basic algorithm of all kinds of speech. He learned the fundamental, code, the key that opens up all language. And we call it an algorithm because it's a kind of a basic piece of coding that allows him access to all the other branches of language. So what the sutra is telling us now is how Sudhana is traveling. He is really, really a pilgrim now. He's on the road for 12 years, and the sutra specifies 12 years. And during that time, we get, look at this. Have to shrink this down a little bit. There we go. During this time, he has, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34 different states that he goes through while he travels in those 12 years. So the sutra is really specific about what his state of mind was as he travels. So if this were a travel journal, it kind of is. It's very much like a description of what his mind is like at this time. All right. Let's read, let's see here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We'll do 8. We'll do the first 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inherent nature, purified and adorned. Okay, we'll go down that far. All right, are we ready? I'll give you a line, you give it back to me if you like. Here we go. 其心坚固，犹如金刚，即那罗延，无能坏者，手持一切善知识教，与诸境界，得不坏智，普门清净，所行无碍，智光圆满，普照一切，具足诸地，总持光明，了知法界，种种次别，无一无住，平等无二，自性清净，而普庄严。Got it? Good. Okay, here we go. We can read it together. I'll just follow my voice. Here we go. His mind was as strong as Vajra and Narayana, indestructible. He protected the teachings of good advisors, and his wisdom of states of mind became indestructible. The universal gateway grew in purity, and his practices met no obstacles. His wisdom light grew ever more full and illuminated all things. He mastered the Dharani light of the stages of Bodhisattva's practice. He knew all the distinctions throughout the Dharma realm. His wisdom relied on nothing and stopped nowhere. It was impartial and non-dual. His inherent nature was purified and adorned in all respects. Okay. Here we go. So I want to say again, we've got our decision-making team is here present with us. Since it's going to be 7:30 in California, it's going to be 12:30 here. Whether you all gather together and listen to the sutra, it's nice to put on your robe and see everybody looking so lovely here. Having the young folks here is so nice. They can listen to the sutra and read in color, and to have the Sangha here together is really nice. It's a shame that I won't be here to share it, so whether you all come back or you stay home and listen in, or you go play cricket, whatever you want, So it's up to you. So you'll have to decide what to do. Okay, so that example of going to play cricket is drawn from life. We had Tony. Tony and Pauline came every week except when the cricket was hot, and then Tony would take a break because he's a cricket fan. So Sudhana is traveling. He's a pilgrim. He's walking, and we find out what is happening inside Sudhana as his body is traveling. The Dharma. So what's going on? His teacher, who is an awakened master, just Chuanfa, he gave him a Dharma transmission. He instructed him in this Miao Guang Toloni, Miao Yin Toloni, the wondrous sound Dharani. And when you get a teaching that powerful from somebody who's got it working, it changes you. Your chemical, electrical makeup changes. And that's what happened to Sudhana. And now what's going on? He's having to adjust. He's adjusting to those changes, and it takes time. So this is, I think, important to note that what if maybe listeners have not had a Dharma transmission from an enlightened teacher before, that'd be pretty rare. But you know what? We have gone to the gym and had a really good workout. Can you think about the last time, or maybe you had a volleyball team that you played at the YMCA, or maybe you took part in a quarter marathon, or a half marathon. Maybe you went swimming or surfing or skiing. You know that afterwards, your muscles, your body tells you that you have done something that probably from a medical point of view, use of the muscles and the nerves that way generates byproducts, generates waste products. And often the swan tong, right, the soreness, comes from excess acid. I don't know, we'll ask the doctor whether that's it. But you can feel it, and you know that cells have been broken down to make way for stronger cells tomorrow. You built muscle, fiber, etc. So that's what happens in the body. Sudhana is going through a process like that with his mind and his Buddha nature. Now I'm looking for an analogy that we can relate to, but what's really going on after getting this Dharani, the 42 syllables, I don't know, but I'm trying to imagine. Because what we do have is a description of all these changes. His mind is now strong. Vajra is Jingang. Some people translate it as diamond. It's not diamond, it's probably strong as diamond, but it's not, it's something else. Diamond is an actual compound. What is Vajra? Don't know yet. Narayana is Bukha Huai, it's indestructible. So his mind is like that. Why do you want your mind to be strong and indestructible? One answer is, if you've made the Putishin, the Bodhi resolve, you want to protect it. You want to keep your mind focused on cultivation. And what comes in through, what doors do we open? Do we open a door with this thing? Yes, we do. We pick up our cell phone how many times a day? 200 times a day. And what comes in through that are TikTok videos and podcasts and phone calls and FaceTime calls, all these things. And then things we go looking for, our bank balance and our email and our messages, right? All those things come in through the eyes and the ears, and it's easy to lose track of your cultivation, your focus on your putishin, etc. You can forget your mantra, forget the Buddha's name that you were reciting, and instead, bei jing jie so zhuan, as Shifu would say, turn by states. So now Sudhana that's not happening to him. He's got a focus. He's really he's got kindness happening. Another way to say why you want your mind strong. Suppose you're feeling really good in the morning, you got your meditation in, you got some exercise in, you got a cup of coffee and a piece of toast and Danish, and you're out, everything is good, and then somebody gossips about you at work. You know that they're talking about you behind your back. Oh man, just your mood is ruined. Your state of mind is like, what are they saying? What's wrong? Maybe I should quit. Maybe I need to, Beijing Jie Sozhuan, turn by states, right? Suppose they're not gossiping about you, but they say something bad about your mom, or your brother, or your country, or your basketball team. And you just suddenly it's like flames inside your mind, right? We are vulnerable to the things that come in our ears and our eyes. When we get the word in here, pingdang, we talk about all dharmas are level and equal. That's the way we translate it. 诸法平等，无有高下, right? We don't live that. We can say it, but we don't live it. If we hear somebody gossiping about us and hear our name in somebody else's mouth, oh man, suddenly 不平等. And yet the sound that came to our ear was no different than if they were talking about the news, right? But if we hear our name, suddenly, what was that? How can you say that? You can't say that about me, right? So if your mind is strong as Vajra, indestructible, you hear these things and you go, no, what they say is up to them. How I react is up to me. I don't have to react with anger. even to the point, I was looking at the Bodhisattva precepts, and it says, even if a bodhisattva's parents are murdered, or killed, he will not seek vengeance. How hard is that? Can you imagine? It's like, I'm going to get them back. You mess with me, you know, you'll get 100% back with extra. You know, I'll repay you. 血仇报, right? So, 报仇. So this is basic in all kinds of cultures, that any insult you have to repay. So the Bodhisattva is so dedicated to the Dharma of Tufa Pingdam. He doesn't seek to continue a negative relationship. If someone harms me, it's because in the past I harmed them. If for some reason they really have not, then I don't want to create an opportunity to harm them, so I have to see them again and they repay it to me. So what an amazing person is someone who can really understand the equality of dharmas. So if your mind is strong as Vajra, you're not moved by sounds, right? 声音不动, 不动于中, they say you're not moved at all. He protects the teachings of good advisors. His wisdom of states of mind is indestructible. He now knows. Now, first of all, Sudhana has disrupted his life to seek the Dharma. He could have stayed back in the City of Blessings as the head of 500 other youths. That must be a good life, to be respected by everybody and to be the boss, and you know, they all listen to you and you get your pick of things and all. And he gave all that up. He let all of that go so he could come out, find good advisors, obtain their teachings, and then cultivate them. So he is going to protect those teachings. He's not going to toss it away easily. Now, this is interesting. What you suppose? 普门清净所行无碍, the universal gateway. Okay, that's the name of chapter 25 of the Lotus Sutra, isn't it? Pumanpin, Guanyin Bodhisattva's universal gateway. So what is that? I've thought about this a lot. What could it be? So universal, I've heard like 5 translations of Puman. One is the gateway to everywhere. That's a good one. One is universal access. So, what was it? The universal gateway with infinite bandwidth. So I remember I was describing this at a retreat at the Vedanta Center in Marin County, north of San Francisco, one Sunday morning in June. And there was a computer engineer. He was a coder, and he heard me talk about Guanyin Bodhisattva's universal door and how her compassion extends to everyone. And afterwards he says, excuse me, he says, would you like to know how a computer engineer would describe that state? And I said, yeah, sure. He says, well, we would probably talk about that as a multi-phase gateway with infinite bandwidth, he said. So, pretty good. Okay, translator, multi-phase gateway with infinite bandwidth, go for it. So, right, that's pretty good, a multi-phase gateway with infinite bandwidth. 有这么一回事吗？没有。Universal gateway. How do you translate Puman? That's the question. So, my best answer is, you know what it is? It's the awakened mind. The awakened mind. And notice, it grew in purity, meaning it's not there yet. He is still cultivating his own mind to remove obstructions and attachments and the ignorance that covers his mind. If his awakened mind was a Buddha already, no longer grows in purity. It's 100% pure. He's not there yet. He is still a student. He's only on stage 6 out of 53. But even so, his practices meet no obstacles. So, I think, what do you think for Universal Gateway? Are people happy with that? The awakened mind? You could also call it, Zhenru, true suchness. Call it the Ru Lai Zhang, the Tathagata's matrix, or Tathagata Garba, the Tathagata's, the Thus Come One's treasury. So, different names for Universal Gateway. If you look at the Lotus Sutra, chapter 25, Guanyin Bodhisattva can hear cries from everyone and then respond in all these different bodies. So her Guanyin Bodhisattva was a Buddha, and from that awakened mind said, I want to come back in a form that people can like and appreciate. Guan Shui and Pusa. So that would work, right? His practices met no obstacles. He was able to keep his cultivation going. He didn't oversleep, and he didn't, quit it for vacation and let it chill while he went to Las Vegas. His practices met no obstacles and no delays. What else? His wisdom light grew more full and illuminated all things. Okay, he's stage 6 out of 53, and he's already got wisdom light. If your wisdom light illuminates all things, you're never confused. Whatever shows up, you see it clearly. You know what it is. You know what things are. He mastered the Dharani light of the stages of Bodhisattva's practices. Boy, oh boy, this is Buddhist language, isn't it? Zhu Di Zong Chi Guang Ming. Look at that. This is Buddhist language to the max. Juzu, replete with, full of, has every bit of. Juzu, full of what? The stages. 53 stages of a bodhisattva's path. Zongchi, Dharani, mantras, Guangming, which send out light. If we didn't have the previous teacher, this would really be like, what? This would be hard to understand. Because we've just been through Mega, Lord Mega, this is exactly what he taught. He taught the Miao Yin Toloni, the wondrous sound Dharani, 42 syllables, turning to the right like a wheel, releasing light. So, okay, there we go. So, Sudhana is here mastering it. Interesting, Jutsu, from mastering. That's an interesting translation, isn't it? You could also say is in charge of, has possession of, Jutsu. He owns the Dharani light now, because why? Mega taught him, and he's a good student. That's what he's working on, 12 years of walking. He knew all the distinctions throughout the Dharma realm. Okay, this is, I think some people, as they contemplate the idea of prajna paramita, right? Poro mido. We've often, chibie. Distinctions. It could also be funbie, I guess. One way of knowledge, one way that we know things is we chop things into little bits. If we know the small bits, we can know the big bits. That's the reductionist theory. Science does a lot of that. If you want to know what something is made of, get a microscope and look at the atoms. Look at the molecular composition of something, and you know what it is. So ice is, you reduce it down, and what do you get? You get water. And you reduce the water down, and what do you get? H2O. 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. Put them together, you get water. Then you heat it, and you get steam. And then you let it congeal, and you get ice. Same thing, those are all distinctions, chemical distinctions. So that's one way of getting knowledge, is you break it down to the smallest. But it's not the only way of getting knowledge. When we get to prajna paramita, it's called the RD, the 2 levels of truth. The Xu Di is the ordinary knowledge, distinctions, cutting things into small parts. You know all the names, like that. But the Zhen Di, the ultimate layer of truth, is the prajna paramita. It takes all the little pieces and puts them together into a whole. The Buddha's eyes see both. Some people say, ooh, I don't know if I want that prajna thing because then I forget my name. If I look at too much emptiness, then I lose my identity, right? I no longer can use my Apple Pay to buy things because my identity is gone. Not to fear. Look at Sudhana. He knows all the distinctions through the Dharma realm, but his wisdom light is ever more full. When you zheng kong, when you liao kong, when you understand emptiness, the state of emptiness, which is how you get to prajna paramita, both the distinctions mind, the left brain and the right brain, that's not a good equivalent. Both the mind that can cut things into tiny pieces and the mind that can put things together into a whole and empty them out, both work just fine. They do not obstruct each other. His wisdom relied on nothing, stopped nowhere. It was impartial and non-dual. Yes, indeed. His inherent nature was purified and adorned in all respects. Look at that. This is Buddha language, isn't it? 自性清净而普庄严. What an amazing, amazing Buddhist code language. This is really Dharma. That is, we say it's, what was it, Mima, not code? Mima, 佛教的 Mima, right? Self-nature, what is it? Purified, 清净. 普庄严, what does it mean? To be universally adorned. That's like, everywhere you go, it's like there's a interior decorator who makes it really pretty. So everywhere it's in the back and the front and the sides, it's pretty. Is that 普庄严? I don't think so. I don't think that's what it means. And I'm laughing because why? I remember if I read this to my mom, bless her heart, she's no longer with us, but she would go, that's very nice, dear. That's Buddhist. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you understand what it means, and I'm sure it's very nice, she would say. My inherent nature is purified and I'm adorned in all respects. Right? So now, we're not laughing at it. What we're saying is, this is already, these terms are very precise. This is talking about a state that goes beyond language. What is your inherent nature? Well, a fish can't tell you about the water. A fish can't get out of the water to describe the state of being wet in the water. We can't get outside of air to describe the state of breathing. Our inherent nature is now manifesting in all respects. What to say you purify that is, I believe, simply talking about the process of cultivation. Here's the principle. As living beings in our bodies, the Buddha nature is there in us. We've got it. Nobody lacks it. Negative, nasty, terrible people have the fullness of the Buddha nature. Kind-hearted, generous, saintly people have the fullness of the Buddha nature. What's the difference between the nasty ones and the saintly ones? Is purified or not yet purified. Cultivation is the process of removing the coverings, purifying the coverings on our nature. What are the coverings of our nature? Biases, prejudices, attachments, desires, habits, false thinking, and in a single word, wuming, ignorance. Ignorance covers us over. And that's our state, that's where we are, and that's the world we live in. When you travel to Las Vegas and it says America's Playground, you think, this is the family, the happy families come to Las Vegas. And you go, wait a minute. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. Children are there? Nah, somehow that needs to be purified. It's not happy. Most of the people I know who go to casinos walk away with less money in their pockets and a feeling of loss. Lady Luck was not with me tonight. The house took all my money. I had to borrow money to get out of there, you know. Where was the playground? So it's like the marketplace plays by its rules, and the goal of the marketplace is to separate us from our wealth. And yet in the process we think, that's really fun to gamble and lose money. So, okay, and yet our Shifu would say, 我们众生染苦为乐. We mistake what is really painful for fun. We think that what is suffering is pleasant, and so we come back and come back. He would give examples. He would say, like the Eskimo trick of when you want to kill a wolf that is stealing the salmon out of your trap. Kids, don't try this at home, and I'm not advocating killing wolves. Wolves need to be protected. But you say what the Eskimos do is they take a knife, a sharp knife, and they coat it with honey, and then they put it out onto the ice next to the salmon trap. And the wolf comes along, and he sees the knife, and the knife is really, you can smell the honey even though it's turned to ice, and he licks it, and it cuts his tongue, and he bleeds to death. He thinks he's getting a bargain with the honey on the knife. In fact, he's cutting his tongue and he's going to die. So Las Vegas is the knife with the honey on it. And we go in and think, oh, this is, finally I get a vacation to Las Vegas. This is really living. And at the end of the week, your tail is between your legs and you're leaving. Luckily, if you have your car, you haven't had to sell your car. We had a monk at the monastery whose dad became a millionaire. How did he do it? He had a used car dealership on the outskirts of Las Vegas. And in his used car lot, there were lots and lots of high-end, expensive cars and limousines. People would come to Las Vegas, lose all their money, and they owed money to the house, so they would drive their car out and say, Boob Jones, please buy my car. And the car would be worth $30,000, $40,000. This is back in the 70s. And the guy would say, oh, that's a really nice limousine. That's a Lincoln Continental. It's worth about $40,000. I'll give you $5,000 for it. $5,000 is worth $40,000. Yeah, how much do you owe at the casino? Well, I owe $5,000. Yeah, you better take it now or I'll give you $4,000 for it. The guy, okay, you're a robber. And the guy said, yeah, you need money, don't you? Oh, well, so I'll buy your car for $4,500, you know. And people would sell their cars because they owed money from their gambling debts. And so the man became a millionaire by giving them pennies to the dollar that way. So our inherent nature being purified, good idea. Adorned in all respects, that means you could say, they talk about adorned with precepts. 戒定真香. Precepts and samadhi are truly fragrant. So Sudhana at this point everything he does is rufa. Okay, that's where we stopped. I want a story for you. We've got Sudhana traveling, right? He's a pilgrim now. And it takes him 12 years to get where he's going, to find the next teacher. And I was thinking about my experience on a pilgrimage. This is one of the volumes of journals that I wrote along with, that I co-wrote with Heng Chao. And here is a letter. Here's an entry into the journal from Heng Chao. It's July 21st, 1978. July 21st. He says, subduing the mind takes ultimate gongfu. This morning I heard an engine roar to a stop just past my left ear as I bowed on the highway shoulder. Only California Highway Patrol police cars make that powerful noise. I figured we were in for a shakedown and I braced for the worst. Metal jingled and leather creaked as the officer, this is my article. Okay, let's start over. Here we go. This morning I heard an engine roar to a stop past my left ear as I bowed on the highway shoulder. Only Highway Patrol cruisers and police cars make that powerful noise. I figured we were in for a shakedown and I braced for the worst. Metal jingled and leather creaked as the officer strode up to Heng Chao. Before the first word passed, my mind had already shifted into fighting gear. That's how little kung fu I really possess. Fear and tense and anxiety arise on their own. How could I hold my actual fire if I was really challenged? I was holding a vow of silence, so I didn't have to talk. The Dao De Jing 22 says, he doesn't fight, and for that reason, no one under heaven can fight with him. 因为不争天下无有能跟他比, something like that, Dao De Jing. So, Heng Chao tells the story later. I had to laugh. He said, that was Officer Taylor of the Monterey Police. He bowed respectfully and he offered to help us through town. He's a Buddhist. He was interested in learning about bowing and sutras and City of 10,000 Buddhas. He says he'll be back again at midday with an offering of vegetables. Surprise, huh? He said. Yeah, surprise. So this is July 21st, 1978. So I was thinking Sudhana is out there absorbing the lessons of Lord Mega, Miche Daren. And the sutra is now telling us what his state of mind is as he purifies his Buddha nature and becomes universally adorned, right? Transformation. He's going through changes now on the road to the next teacher. And I can relate because here's a story of two American monks on the road going through transformations, okay? So, Heng Chao on July 21st, the title of this entry is Code 217, Armed and Dangerous. That's a police code. 217, Armed and Dangerous. Okay, he begins this entry with a quote from the the 10 Transferences chapter. He says, amid beings' voices, karma, attachments, etc., his mind never has a single thought of attachment. Why? Because he attaches to nothing, he relies on nothing, he benefits himself while benefiting others. The Bodhisattva is pure and satisfied. Okay, that's the sutra quote from the Shihui Shangping. Here's the article. He says, camped overnight on a wooded side road behind a shopping center, quietly chanting the morning ceremony, sitting in meditation before dawn. Did some tai chi, drank some hot tea under an old oak tree. Began bowing on a small patch of grass in the middle of an intersecting freeway's clover leaf on the off-ramp exit. We are in the eye of a hurricane. 7:30 a.m. Sleepy bums crawl out of their pitch tent behind us, yawning. These are homeless people. Yawning, rubbing their eyes, half asleep, half in disbelief, to see two shaved-head, long-robed monks bowing and chanting on the grass as diesels and commuters roar and circle all around. Dr. Kim, a local acupuncturist MD, stops with an offering of fresh fruit. "Gotta run, late for an appointment to treat the Archbishop," he says. "Your robes are traditional, reminds me of home." He's Vietnamese. "My father used to dress like that." 8 a.m., a reporter from the Monterey Herald stops for an interview. 9 a.m., a crazy man approaches, praying and chanting, making hexes and hand signs over us, while another man smiles and slips some money underneath the windshield wiper of our car. 9:30 a.m., I hear the rumbling engine of a police car pull to a slow stop beside us. A long pause, crackling over the police radio before the door slams. I lift my forehead from the ground to see shiny black shoes and blue uniformed legs waiting for me to stand up. Trouble? No, surprise. "Excuse me, sorry to disturb you. I'm Officer Taylor of the Monterey Police." He smiles. He says his Dharma name with folded hands and a half bow. "I'm a Buddhist layman. Is there some way I can assist you?" This is the Monterey Police Force. 10 a.m., another crazy man, chanting and yelling, trying to touch Heng Shi. I wish my mind didn't move like Vajra, like Narayana. 11 a.m., Officer Taylor returns with tofu, spinach, and bean sprouts for lunch offering. Officer Taylor asks questions about the Six Patriarch Sutra and the Pure Land as he washes the spinach, and I fry up the tofu on a picnic table in a small park off the main drag. He says, "I just subscribed to Vajrabodhi magazine. It's really good. I especially like," and he goes, "Oops, excuse me," he says, as his ears are cocked to the police car radio. "Code 217, armed and dangerous, 10-4. Taylor stiffens and readies to run. Heng Chao says, "Take a sandwich anyway." So Heng Chao makes him a sandwich and hands it to him. He says, "Okay, good idea." He puts together a tofu peanut butter sandwich. He does a quick bow, he hops in his car, and he roars away with the sirens blaring. 1 p.m., Richard from the Salinas, California newspaper stops for a story. Quote, "I talked to the police. They say good things about you. You're keeping all the rules. You're doing everything right. They say you respect the law. A lot of people admire that," he says to us. 1:30 p.m., back to bowing. Heavy traffic. My sash gets caught on my shoe heel as I bow. Rip! Symbolic of my attached state of mind. 2 p.m., I remember back to lunch, watching Heng Shi calmly feeding the pung bird in the ceremony as a car full of young people roll by with rock and roll blaring out the window and, "Hey, Baldy!" We hardly notice anymore, and after a few days, they hardly notice us either. Something about the bowing and traditional way of life smooths the rough edges and melts suspicions. By the time we bow out of town, we become part of the community, fitted someplace quietly into everybody's mind. "Oh, they're the bowing monks. You know, I'm going to miss you two. I gotten sort of used to seeing you bowing along the streets, you know," says another with a kind of fondness. People gradually gather us in and treat us like family or old friends without ever having once met or even spoken to us. 2:30 p.m., Officer Taylor returns to offer gas money and check our progress. Again, the police car radio calls him away. "Suspect driving a 66 Chevy, proceed with caution." 3 p.m., break to meditate and write. 4 p.m., piece of tomato from a passing car rolls by Heng Shi's head. 5 p.m., a man stops, places his hand kindly on my shoulder and says, "I don't know what you're doing, but I'm really impressed. Can I make a contribution?" 5:30 p.m. Transfer the merit from the day's bowing, walk back to the car, and drive the busy city streets, looking for a still and quiet place, an aranya, ulanro, to spend the night. Sitting in meditation in the car, a chance to reflect on today's lessons, learning to let go and abide in proper thoughts. The 10 Transferences chapter says, proper thoughts appear before me without grasping or attaching to them. So, another kind of pilgrimage, we can appreciate what Sudhana is going through and the changes that it makes in his consciousness as the Dharma starts to work in his mind. Okay, let's start here and go down to the bottom of the page. Are we ready? I'll give you a line, you give it back. 于诸所行，皆得究竟，智慧清净，离诸执着，知十方。Let's see, how should we do it? I'll do the whole thing. 知十方差别去sorry, 再来。知十方差别法，知无所障碍知无障碍。住十再来 Wow, gotta pay attention here. 往十方差别处，身不疲懈，与十方差别业，皆得明了。与十方差别佛，五不见我再来，五不显见，Wow, I'm getting the rhythm. We're going da 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 da. Now it goes da 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 da. Okay, here we go. 再来，于十方差别时，习得深入。All right, thank you for that. Sorry for the funky Chinese readings. Here we go. Right there. Okay, are we ready? He reached the ultimate point in everything he did. We're reading together. His wisdom was pure, and he left all attachments behind. He knew the dharmas of the 10 directions, and his wisdom was unimpeded. He traveled everywhere in the 10 directions, his body never tiring. He clearly understood the distinctions in karma in all directions. Every Buddha in all directions came into view before him. He could deeply comprehend all times and places. Okay, his state of mind is now getting really profound, isn't it? So here we go. His wisdom relied on nothing and stopped nowhere. It was impartial and non-dual. Let's see, we already did that one. Here we are. He reached the ultimate point in everything he did. So what I make of that is that they say that if you have real wisdom and you see a branch tip, you can trace it back to the roots of the tree. If you see an acorn, you know what the oak tree is like, and you know that inside the little acorn there is an oak tree. If you see a gum tree, let's say a casuarina tree, we've got these funny, very kind of frail-looking, long-limbed, long-leaved evergreens. They're called casuarinas, and they produce these nuts that look like mini pine cones. And inside each casuarina seed, there's a casuarina tree potential to grow. So real wisdom is able to see the casuarina tree and then know that inside the tree contains all these little seeds. And glossy-winged black cockatoos love these better than anything. This is their exclusive food. These giant parrots. They're called glossy-winged black cockatoos. They have funny sounds, they mate for life. They have red tails or yellow tails, and they eat these casuarina seeds, mini pine cones. And wisdom is able to see the seed and get the tree, or look at the tree and know it contains the seed. So, reaching the ultimate point in everything he does, no matter whether he's studying music or how to repair Volkswagen engines, he takes it to the ultimate point. He is not one to mamahuhu, that is not him. His wisdom is pure, he leaves all attachments behind. He knows the dharmas of the 10 directions, his wisdom is unimpeded. The more he cultivates these dharmas, he's got 5 transmissions from 5 teachers, including Manjushri. He is really making the most of it. He travels everywhere in the 10 directions, his body never tiring. Okay, that's a comment about his physique. So, you know that this kind of pilgrimage, you depend upon yourself only. And at first, you get tired a lot. Your muscles are not used to this kind of effort. And your feet complain, you get blisters, you start to sweat, your skin pores complain because you haven't acclimated to the new the rhythm of cold nights, hot noons, right? You're not used to that. Just like bowing the 10,000 Buddhas' repentance or bowing the Emperor Liang's repentance. That first day, the second day, the third day, you think your legs are going to kill you. They're going to go on strike. You think, I have to quit. But if you can make it through that third day to the fourth day, suddenly there's a whole different gear shifting of gears, and you feel like you're flying. It's effortless. I've done a lot of bowing in my life, and yet every time I do a repentance liturgy, same thing. First day, ouch. Second day, real ouch. Third day, I gotta quit. This can't work, right? Fourth day, you break through. You're in a new state. And Sudhana now is that way. One of our members of our wider community, Guri, is now on San Juan de Compostela pilgrimage route in Spain. And this is a famous European pilgrimage route that many, many hundreds of thousands of people have done. And you can join it at any point and quit at any point, or you can go all the way through. There are, I've seen 2 wonderful movies about people who took this full, long pilgrimage route through all these coastal cities in Spain to the church at the end. And the movies are wonderful because they describe all of the challenges. One of the best movies has this old fellow from the Midwest who decides kind of on a whim that he's going to do this, and he's totally unprepared. He's not physically fit at all, and he gets a blister right away at the beginning, like the second day, a blister in his socks and his hiking boots, and he just endures it. He just goes on. And everybody says, oh, you got to quit. No, bad idea. No, you got to quit and get that healed. Take 2 weeks. No, I'll do it. He just accommodates. And sure enough, it heals. And more importantly, his spirits heal. And he reaches the end fully awake. Very wonderful. So notice every Buddha in all directions come into view before Sudhana. This is a prelude to what's going to happen with elder liberation. Elder liberation's Dharma door, liberation door, his Jetoman, has to do with seeing Buddhas. And this is a major change. You'll see as we get into it. He could deeply comprehend all times and places. Sudhana is growing up in the Dharma, and this is where, he's at the very early days of his walk. And notice this one right here. He continued his pilgrimage, traveling for a period of 12 years. Oh boy, Okay. I wanted to share something I found on Karuna News. Everybody knows about Karuna News by now? Highly recommended. What is right here? Let's see here. Yeah, karunanews.org. I'll put this in our chat and then you can pass it on. Pass this on to YouTube also, please. karunanews.org. This is a good news website. This is a story that I really, really like. It says, in 2023, Vivek Murthy, our sadly departed, are no longer, it's a new administration, so he had to step down. But Vivek Murthy was our Surgeon General, wonderful man. He spotlighted a silent epidemic, loneliness. Loneliness, especially affecting older adults. So in Brooklyn, New York, the Life Story Club came about. It's a nonprofit. It blends storytelling with healthcare to make connections and to combat isolation. Okay? Now, it's online. You log on to a Zoom call and they ask you a question. What was the greatest historical event that you lived through? To those who join. The stories unfold, the bonds deepen online, strangers become friends. It's more than simply, here I gotta shrink it down again. It's more than simply storytelling, it's social prescribing, meaning like a prescription, kai fang yao, right, for a society. A groundbreaking healthcare approach with 82% of the members feeling less lonely, 93% experiencing a boost in their moods, and real change. Dr. Jennifer Wang, the Chinese doctor, the executive director, captures the essence. She says, nobody should face aging alone. Participants like Raga M express it best. Waiting every week for Friday keeps me alive. I have so many stories to share. They fuse the virtual meetings online, with in-person storytelling events, and Life Story Club turns isolation into celebration. It helps participants live longer, fuller lives. Life Story Club is beautiful. This is the original story here. You can see here's a picture of one of them. This is the Life Story Club. Look at the elders online sharing their life stories. Something that happened to them that was life-changing. Look at the smiles. Look at all the folks. A social club for older adults. Participants can join on their own, but the organization partners with healthcare teams to help older adults who are at risk of loneliness and social isolation. Now, you have to know how to do Zoom. You have to have a computer. That's part of it. Or a phone. It's called social prescribing. 开社会药物, right? 药方. It seems to be working. Out of 120 existing clubs that reach 1,200 individuals, ages 60 plus, 82% say they feel less lonely, 95% feel supported, 92% says there's a sense of community, 93% experience mood improvements. It's created to address a gap in our country by connecting older adults in New York City to share stories and build meaningful friendships. Nobody should face aging alone. It's important to bring a sense of belonging and connection to older adults. A quarter of the participants come through Story RX, Story Rexall program, which started in August of 2024. 80 referrals have been placed in their own club through Cleveland Clinic and Montefiore. I don't know where that is. Dr. Sidi, I just had a conversation with a patient. We talked about the deep loneliness she was experiencing. She is a gerontology specialist with Montefiore. Patients feel a lack of intimacy in their relationships. So sometimes you have people around, but the quality of the interaction is not safe to share what she's really feeling. But having sat in on previous life story club meetings, she knew where to send her patient. The Life Story Club facilitators can read the virtual room and are good at bringing people in. There were conversations I really would not have expected people who didn't know each other outside of Zoom to go into, but they were really able to share difficult parts of their lives. Look at the in-person club here. Right? As profound as these connections are, the data behind them is especially moving. So this is quite a story. And I recommend that people go to where? Go to Karuna News. Karuna is Tsubei, is Bei, right? Tsubei. Go to Karuna News and find one of this week's stories, of which there are many. I found this one here on the crawler. Secret note hidden in Dachau-built Violin of Hope tells a tale of survival and craftsmanship. There it is, Story Rexall. Innovative prescription storytelling for older adults. It boosts survival odds by 50%. Countries reach historic agreement to tackle future pandemics. Look at the face mask on the globe. The plastic man turning trash into treasure. Blood tests could detect Parkinson's disease before symptoms emerge. She lay on the road so I could see her face. Okay. One man's quest to reforest the Rio Grande Valley. So, wonderful. Karuna News. Highly recommended. Go check it out. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, 解脱长者. We'll close in. That's my computer support team for my lecture. Here we are. Oh, nope. This is it right here. I was going to start down at the bottom and go up. Let's see here. Too often let's see, is this the archive already? Go up? Okay. Going up. I was going to start with the archive, but let's see. We'll do the recent. Okay, here we go. Was Sudhana born with supernatural abilities? He spent 12 years seeking wisdom from a single virtuous teacher, 53 teachers in total. If he were an ordinary mortal, his lifespan might not be sufficient for the journey. I got news for you. You are born with supernatural abilities, but you have to cultivate them before they function. Nobody is not born with what Sudhana has. Now, he also had blessings, so that's why he is shan cai, good wealth. He came into life carrying a real bank account of blessings from the past, and we may not have that blessings, but the supernatural abilities are part of your nature, part of my nature. You have to cultivate them. Most important is to make vows that bodhisattvas make to help others. With selfishness, those abilities don't appear. So, if he were ordinary, his lifespan wasn't efficient, sure it would. He was a young man. He's got many 12-year cycles, right? So I've been a monk for 50 years, almost, like 49, and I'm hoping I've got a few more years left. So don't wait. What are you waiting for? Regarding the issue of performing rituals to help the deceased attain liberation, a fellow practitioner mentioned relying on the power of the three jewels for transcendence. Madhyayana saves his mom. If you sincerely recite Di Zhang Jing for deceased loved ones, does it lack power? The stories of maiden Guangmu, Guangmu Nu, and Boloman Nu show their mothers attained salvation. I don't get the question, honestly. If you sincerely recite Restore Sutra for your loved ones, does it lack power? Nope, doesn't. Maybe I'm not understanding it correctly. 如果本人诚心念诵地藏经为自己的去世亲人，就没力量吗？哪有没力量？ The answer is in you. The key word there is 诚心念, 诚心诵念. If you recite with a sincere mind, let Restore Bodhisattva do his thing. Why do you want to pull any energy back from Dizang Pusa? You do your part, let the sutra do its part. That's faith, right? They say, 知广经运不广收获. Okay? If you doubt Restore Sutra, that is not Chengxin. Okay, you can't attend a Dharma assembly in person. What's the difference between participating online? I said the power of attending in person and online is different. Did I? Did I say that? Oh, I didn't. I believe our hearts are not bound by location, correct, but where our minds reside. Even if attending online, if every thought is focused on the Buddha's name, is it not the same as being physically present? The Buddha pervades all space and time and transforms the Dharma realm. Okay, I don't think I've said that, and I don't believe that's the case. The situation is funny because the Buddha did not have an online Dharma assembly to teach from. That's one of the big issues is, what is the power of technology these days? We will find out in the future. Certainly during COVID, we didn't have a choice. Online meetings were not happening. So that showed the power of Zoom, for example. That has become kind of our default technology for meeting. There might be a different one later. Google has Google Groups. What was the one we used to use? We picked up on Zoom. GoToMeeting. We used to do GoToMeeting. That was the competitor, right? Zoom has really won because it's effective. So I completely agree with your points that if your heart is not bound by location, it's where your mind resides, should be the same. We don't want to think the Buddha is limited to one planet. The Dharma realm is truly vast. And when your mind has no obstructions, no limitations, you can be in touch with living beings on all sides. How can one deeply understand taking refuge in the three jewels of your self-nature? How do you cultivate practice to attain realization of the three jewels of your self-nature? Let's see. 如何深入理解皈依自性三宝？如何修行正得自性三宝？ Okay. Yesterday we did a refuge ceremony here, 皈依, and there is a 开示. There's a talk at the beginning of the ceremony where it's called 开导, and the teacher, it was me yesterday, but it could be anybody holding the ceremony, explains what are the sanbao. There is 住持三宝 and 一体三宝 in the ceremony. And boy, this we are researching where that ceremony actually came from. When did it become the standard ceremony? And I'm working on it with Jin Yong Shi. If there's anybody listening, I haven't taken a look to see who is here. Hold on. Okay. We've got all of this is our varsity team listening in today. That's great. Okay. If anybody who is capable using can use the Dazang Jing, if you're able to use the various Foshui Zidian or other research tools, it would be very interesting to find out if you can trace back our current Sangui Yishi, where did that become the standard? Because why? The Kai Dao in that doesn't come from the Buddha. It comes from Momo Dada, some virtuous Sangha member at some point who explained it, and then that was collected, and it got passed on through our Han Chuan Fojiao from generation to generation as the ceremony that we use when it's time to take refuge. In that Kai Dao at the beginning, he talks about two kinds of sanbao and what it means to gui yi. We are in the process of trying to simplify that explanation, because I guarantee you, after I read through it, nobody understands. We have to go through it quickly, otherwise people are kneeling there for too long. And also, it is Wenyanwen. It is a classical form of Chinese that is, even if you read it slowly with a dictionary, it is full of Fojiao Mingxiang, Fojiao Yongyu, the highly technical Buddhist code language. And by golly, it is profound and deep and wonderful and correct, but hard to grasp, difficult to absorb. What is the difference between 住持 sanbao and 一体 sanbao? 住持 simply means Buddha. Could it be the Buddha right behind me? Vairochana, right there on the altar. There he is, right there. That could be. And is the sangbao me and the nuns who are representing, standing in to represent the Sangha? Yes. So could mean that, you know. There's a historical Buddha, Shakyamuni, the Dharma that he spoke and was recorded and passed on in the Tripitaka, and the original Sangha, starting with Ajñata Kaundinya and on through all the generations. Then there's the Zhengfa Shidai, the Xiangfa Shidai, the Mofa Shidai, the three different ages in the right Dharma, Dharma image and Dharma ending. That's one way to do it. That's Zhuchi, talking about, do you hear this is dying, so let it go. I'm hearing it echoes and then it stops, and then it echoes and it stops. Right? So then it says iti, the iti, single substance. So the dwelling and abiding, 3 jewels. Then the single substance, 3 jewels. What is that? It says that is the wisdom, is the Buddha, the principles is the Dharma, and the connection to a community of supporting living beings, that is the Sangha. That's the internal. That is the jewels of the self-nature. You understand that much? The answer is, not really. He's like, well, that's pretty deep. Yes, it is. It really is. And that's the point. There is another entire level of Zixing Sanbao, which talks about Jing Qi Shen. And those are aspects of the human body that can be transformed through samadhi into something quite wonderful. We're not going to talk about that today. So, your question, how do you cultivate and practice to attain realization of the 3 jewels of the self-nature? The answer is, qin xiu jie ding hui, xi mie tan shen shi. That's a formula, isn't it? Vigorously, diligently cultivate precepts, concentration, and wisdom. Put an end to greed, anger, and delusion. Somebody goes, Fasher, that's so simple. Any Buddhist cultivator at the very beginning knows all those. Give me something profound. Well, the answer is yes. Any beginning cultivator can say, Qin xiu jie ding wei xi mi tan chen shi, but can you do it? If you can, you don't have to ask me. The Zixing Sanbao will spontaneously awaken. All right? I am not cheating you. You have spoken about the vibration of sound and the distinction between right and wrong. You 讲述的声音的震动以及正邪. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm glad we got the Chinese. how there can be vibrations like the lewd tunes of Zheng, and Wei. That's not me. Confucius talked about those. Confucius also talked about the Shao, which he said was so wonderful. When he heard it, he didn't want to eat for 3 days. He felt full. Every day, the words we speak are a form of sound vibration and transmission. Correct. Different sounds have different effects. Correct. Recently, I encountered a patient with a malignant tumor. Every night before bed, she listens to the continuous playback of Guanyin Bodhisattva's name. Her sleep has changed. She no longer thinks about the tumor. She sleeps very well. Excellent. Additionally, this week, she started chanting Namo Guanxin Pusa herself. The same phenomenon occurred again. She noticed that her thoughts changed, so she focused on chanting the Buddha's name and stopped paying attention to negative thoughts, no longer experiencing distress. Excellent. Wonderful. This recent example aligns closely with what you taught in your lecture. Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? You could say the principle is 一切为心造. Everything is made from the mind alone. And if we think 正念 and not 邪念, right thoughts and not crooked thoughts, what would a crooked thought be? Oh, I'm sick, I have a tumor, I'm going to die, I'm going to suffer, it's going to be miserable. That's normal and natural, people, because we have fears about pain, we don't want to suffer. But the mind is able, with the encouragement of good friends, wholesome friends, 善知识, to change our thinking and say, everybody's going to die at some point. It's just a question of sooner or later. So while I'm breathing, while I'm alive, why not think positive? Namo Guan Shi Yin Pusa. Guanyin Bodhisattva was a Buddha. She is changed into a Bodhisattva to help us, make our days wonderful. Furthermore, with every sound, I can dedicate merit to other living beings. Not only can I find balance and harmony and happiness in my life, I can give to other beings with every name of Guanyin Pusa. That's real cultivation. 转凶为吉, right? We turn disaster into auspiciousness. My question, whenever she closes her eyes, she sees an image of Guanyin Bodhisattva or radiant Buddha. Should I advise her not to become too attached to this experience? If this is somebody who is already has tumors and is experiencing illness, and she can see bodhisattvas and Buddhas, no need to to caution too much, because why? Someone who is using their mind in a positive way against negativity, that's a good step. It's in the right direction. It's very easy to be attached to states, and yet you don't tell a sick person who's taking medicine, don't attach to the medicine. You don't want to get too healthy, right? So if you understand that this person is truly attaching to a state and will be disturbed when it goes away, then perhaps you can caution middle way. What I say is every state is a 境界. What's it like? It's like the weather. Today it's sunny, tomorrow clouds are going to come, the next day it could be windy, the next day it could be overcast. Weather, it's always one thing or another. So in the midst of weather, do good. States are just like weather. Today it's, I'm worried about my malignant tumor. I have cancer, I may die. Tomorrow, I'm going to be seeing Guanyin Pusa and a Buddha when I open my eyes, or every time I look, when I close my eyes. That's another kind of state. Somewhere in the middle is the right way to do it. States come, states go. The mind doesn't move. Malignant tumor, Guanyin Pusa. If the mind doesn't move in the midst of that, that's the balance that you want. So don't break the state with too much reality. Of course, if she's attaching and becomes obsessed with it, that's not healthy. So there we go, right in the middle. Let's do one more. One more. Sometimes I get angry for no apparent reason during fasting days. It's like a force is driving me to lose my temper. Afterwards, I hear a voice scolding myself, saying shameless, worthless. After the outburst, I feel physically and mentally unwell. It takes a long time to recover. I feel as though I failed in every test. What is happening? How should I address this? 有时莫名其妙的发脾气，尤其在斋日时，就像有一股力量推动我自己发脾气，之后就一个声音在心里骂自己，在背不要脸不争气之类的语言。OK， 发完了脾气之后，身心很难受，一般去圆不过来，一般去缓不过来，觉得又就经不起考验，没考上，没考过，这是怎么一回事 ？Okay, my question would be, and this is our last question for today. My question would be, if you were not fasting, would you still get angry easily? What is the connection between fasting day? What does fasting day mean? It means afternoon you don't eat. And it also means that you follow your bodhisattva precepts on those days. When it's not those 6 particular days, do you still get angry? Well, I'm trying to identify whether the cause of the anger is really cultivation or is it some other cause. I think it's a mistake to blame cultivation for more emotion than usual. Cultivation, that is to say, following those, not eating on 6 days a week, 6 days a month, to blame that as the cause of anger seems unusual to me. I would look there. The cause of anger most often is frustrated desire. Energy is built up. I want this and I don't get it, and bang, right? That collision creates frustration, which you can sometimes turn into anger. So, 贪而不来就生气，因为生气就造祸, right? 起祸造业受果报. So that the formula is, if you're greedy and you don't get what you wanted, there's fire, there's frustration and anger. Anger can then turn into behavior that you really regret. Karma. So they say delusion creates karma and then retribution. You get the reward for the bad karma. So, right, that's the formula. So looking into that, that's the way the process works. Is there something you're looking for that you're not getting that causes the anger? I would be careful identifying cultivation as the cause of anger. Really, because you didn't get food after noon, you got so angry? In that case, drink some soy milk or fill your stomach at night with something that isn't food, liquids of some sort, maybe doujiang or oat milk or something like that, so that the pain, the discomfort of hunger is cured. If you can identify what it is that you were looking for that you didn't get that caused the anger, that's real cultivation. So having anger is not the bad thing. Being unable to recognize anger and then shooting it out at somebody and then feeling bad about what you did, that's no cultivation. If you really don't know where the anger came from, I think you know. Look to what you're not getting. That's what causes the anger. If you can control the anger once it arises, that's okay. That's a step forward, recognizing, being aware that you're doing it, and then holding it, transforming anger. It's energy. It's all you. Every bit of that whole process is you. Looking outside, 怨天尤人, right? Blaming others, that's 没有智慧, no wisdom, right? So anger is not all bad if you can transform it before you shoot it out at someone or something. Okay? When anger arises, that's information that you didn't get something you were looking for. But to own the whole process, that's gongfu. When you can experience anger and not shoot it at someone or something. Recycle that energy. Suddenly you've got energy. Okay? Martial arts is a really good way. Tai Chi Chuan or Shaolin Chuan or yoga or swimming or running, something like that is a good way to recycle that energy that is yours, that if just let it go as anger and you blast somebody, 没有功夫. Okay? No need to feel ashamed, just take charge of it. Okay, let me see. How many, do we have a monk here who is going to, is Jin Chuan or Jin Wei going to talk about activity at Berkeley Monastery? If not, I will do so, like last week. Okay, I think I'm the one doing it. So here it is, right there. Buddha's birthday at the Berkeley Monastery happens next Sunday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'll be there with everybody. It'll be online. You can link here if anybody wants to watch for any reason. New event posted on our website, Ukiah Valley Kids Book Fair. Our nuns are putting this forward. It's going to be wonderful. It's May 17, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at CDB, Ukiah Valley Kids Book Fair. We have some wonderful books put together by Jin Rosher and her team. There's a great website that talks about what's going to happen. This is a really interesting idea, and GCDR might want to pay attention to this. It's kind of interesting. CTDB is going to put together a book fair. Book reading schedule, performance schedule, booth numbers and authors and illustrators. Look, all these different kids' book authors are going to show up with their books. Here's a full list, a full day of activities. There'll be dragon dance, lion dance. People can see CTDB. Exhibitors, there'll be food, vendors, literacy-related organizations. This has become a big deal, and it's our nuns who have put it together. Qin Guo Shi, let's see, Heng, who was the nun who was here just now? The two nuns, Jin Jie Shi and Jin Jian Shi, are the nuns who were here, who went back and put this together. So this is really exciting, and I'm committed to another event, so I can't be there. I was really disappointed. I wanted to take part and offer songs. Coloring fun for kids of all ages, Chinese calligraphy, tour of CTDB. This is a really good event. So that's going to happen. Meanwhile, that's the 17th of May, 10 to 3. That's going to be a hot one. I just know that's going to be great. Redwood Vihara website, newsletter, that's here. Go to Berkeley Monastery to find out about all of these things. Ajahn Kovilo, that happened already. Okay, there we go. Buddha Root Farm, don't forget, got to sign up soon. It's going to be closed soon. June 21st to June 27th. Here is the application where you can find out about it. Cultivate in the woods. Every year when people do this, they come away saying, boy, this is really one wonderful way to bring the Dharma to the West. Cultivate in nature, under those trees. Oh, I got to show y'all something. This is very cool. Jinwei Shi was down at Redwood Vihara in the Santa Cruz Redwoods, turned his camera outside through the window, and look what he saw on our driveway. This is a mountain lion. That's a cougar, otherwise known as a puma. It's because warm weather is coming, he's shedding. That's why the coat looks bad. There's a mom right there. Anybody who's been to Redwood Vihara, you know this driveway. Going up the hill there to the Kutis. And as he had his camera running, look what he saw. Optimized for video. He saw a young mountain lion running after mom. Two of them, mother and daughter or son. And he said, wow. Everybody who looks at this goes, whoa. One more time, please. Let's try that again. Right by the car on the driveway is a baby mountain lion. Boing, boing. We have kangaroos, they have mountain lions. Boing, 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 boing. There's mom, continuing up the driveway. Oh my goodness. People say, mountain lions? Are they meat eaters? You bet they are. Are they dangerous? Absolutely they are. The man who sold us Redwood Vihara, Wesley Schroeder, our neighbor, used to feed the deer. He said, well, I got about 50 in the herd. He says, they came every night, fed 50 of them. But you know what? I saw these mountain lions around the perimeter looking for weak ones and old ones and sick ones. And I thought, I better stop this because I'm contributing to the death of deer. So I stopped feeding them. He said, that's Wesley. Now we don't feed the deer. I don't know, maybe they are feeding deer. But we got the mountain lions in any case. We are in their territory. The same way that we acknowledge country here, we're in the territory of kangaroos and wallabies. Likewise, in Redwood Vihara, we're in the territory of black bear and deer and mountain lions. Oh boy. Okay, dedication of merit time. See you all next week. I will be physically in California, and if you're online, you won't know any difference. I'll be right there on your screen. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see, our hands and hearts can find in giving unity. May our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise. And then we will conclude with bowing to Guanyin Pusa. Go, 3 bows. Bow 2. 3rd bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master, and bow to our teacher. Thanks, everybody. See you all next week. Ami Tuo Bye now.